Oh, there we go. Okay. Since it's 7:02, we'll bring the Mashpee Board of Health to order. There may be some folks watching from home tonight, so I just want to point out we do have an item about the current coronavirus pandemic. We will come back to it. We do have a few things we have to work our way through first, and then we'll get to that just as soon as we can. So our first order of business tonight, we'll just review and approve the meeting minutes from our March 5th, 2020 public session. Does anybody have any comments on those?
I didn't have any issues with
Minutes?
them.
Ronnie, did you have any comments? And just for the record, Veronica Warden is one of our board members and is participating remotely this evening. So you're all set, Ronnie?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
Took care of my comments already in-house.
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
I move to approve the minutes for the meeting of March 5th, 2020.
Okay, I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, do we have any expense warrants this evening?
There is one set of warrants, yeah,
Okay.
for the B&A.
Now, Glenn, do they do the monitoring of Maven for you guys? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Do they for Yarmouth? You have your own?
Yeah, they do.
counters?
They do TB and that's it.
Oh,
Everything
okay.
else we do in-house.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just chug along with new business. So a review of request for new food establishment permit for Fresh Roll, 439 Nathan Ellis Highway, Unit 4. You could give us a little bit of background information for that one, Glenn.
Okay, and the applicant is here.
Okay.
We've done the floor plan review. They've paid the floor plan review fee. They've provided the serve safe and allergy awareness. This is for a new restaurant down in Brickyard Marketplace. They're taking one of the vacant units right now. We reviewed the menu and the building permit. So at this point, we are all set with this. We're just looking to have the board approve their food establishment permit.
Okay, great.
I'm sorry, Glenn, you said you already inspected it? Did I miss that?
No, we've not inspected
No
it because it
inspection,
hasn't been
okay.
built out yet. They're just,
Okay.
this is a vacant unit, which was not a food establishment before.
Okay.
So it has to be built out. But we've reviewed the floor plan and the equipment plan, and so we're all set on that, the technical end of it.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure. If anybody's here to present on this tonight, if you'd like, just state your name for the
There's the
record,
house
please,
plan, that's what I
and
was looking
feel free to make any comments or ask any questions.
Okay. Hi, my name is Chana Chu, and I'm representing Fresh Roll.
Okay. You had some questions, Ronnie?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and ask?
Oh, okay, I looked like she was talking. Where is the product coming from?
So the question is, where's the product coming from?
Right, so it's the vegetables, the produce. Where's the produce coming from?
So, this is a fully vegetarian restaurant, and we have spoke to local farmers in Cape Cod, and we have been doing farmers markets, food vendors, and we are planning to bring as much local vegetables and produce around the Cape Cod community.
Okay.
And then we have the third-party providers such as from Reinhardt's and Cisco's.
Like a Cisco?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and one more. How often is she going to test the pH? per day.
So the question is, how often will you be checking the pH of the rice per day?
Yes. So we plan to check that every hour as possible because we will be opening around early breakfast around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning until 4, 5 o'clock in the evening. So we will be testing that every hour.
Okay.
Okay, is she going to record that on a log?
Do you have a log for it?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. We have a plan for recording the pH levels on the rice, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so. Glenn, did you receive a more detailed HACCP plan? Is this just like a summary page that we received, or
Yeah, typically we get more,
more details and
more
specifics?
detailed plan that has all the steps in it, not just the,
An example of like the log,
right,
how much vinegar that, you know what I'm looking for here.
yes.
So that's the only thing I would want to see, would to see your HACCP plan fleshed out a little bit more.
Okay.
And, if it's not even built yet, you certainly have time to do that. That can be provided prior to opening, but
Yeah, do you have more to your HACCP plan than the one page, or has it not been developed, or is it just maybe not fully sent or something like that? All it says is just, it lists out who's on the HACCP team, and I think there's nothing else.
well, there's just a brief summary of the steps, but typically, it's pages and pages long. You get very detailed into what type of rice, how long you're cooking it for, how much vinegar you're putting
Right.
in,
Right.
what you're storing it in, how you're cleaning the paddles and the wooden bowl and all of that. So that's
Okay.
just what we're looking for, is more details. And you're just gonna be using the test strips? You're not gonna be using like a digital pH reader at all?
We do have both.
Okay, so we'll want to see like calibration instructions in there.
Yes.
It's really just to make sure your staff is fully aware of all the steps, so that when Caitlin comes to do the inspection and she
Yes.
runs them through it, they're not surprised by things that she's looking for, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, so. But other than that, I don't have any issues. That was just my one question. so.
Do you want me to review that when that gets
Yeah,
handed in?
absolutely, that can be
So they don't
reviewed.
have to come back?
Yeah.
Absolutely, at the office
Okay.
level.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any questions myself, I think.
All right, I move to approve the food establishment permit for Fresh Roll pending a passing inspection completed by the health department staff and the approval of the revised HACCP plan.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, you're all set?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's see, 7:10. Is the next one under new business, is that like a quick 5-minute item, or is there anything we can?
That's the same type of setup.
Okay. All right, so why don't we just cover that one then? So we'll take item number 4, which is a review of request for new food establishment permit for Yummy Sushi at 11 Commercial Street. And Glenn, if you could provide us the background information on that one, please.
Okay, this is a new sushi location that's actually taking over the existing spot in Stop and Shop.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought that looked familiar.
Is there anyone here for this one tonight? Are you, no? No? Okay.
So the HACCP plan was provided for the acidified rice variance, and they have not provided their serve-safe or allergy awareness, so if the board does approve it, they need to submit their serve-safe and allergy awareness prior to issuance of permit and an inspection. But I believe these are people who are associated with My Cuisine, who are actually the ones who do it in Roach Brothers.
Okay.
I think they also are the new ones in Falmouth Stop and Shop as well. if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yep.
yeah, they have all that.
They go by different names at each different franchise, but I believe it's all under the same corporate name. Same corporate company anyways.
They have a set of, looks like laboratory data here. Is that typical?
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Oh,
Typically, yeah, for an initial HACCP plan, you want to see a lab test of like where the pH of the rice is.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you'll have them do it annually with renewal of the permit as well, just to show that they're being consistent.
Right. Would they typically be required to also submit the results of their own test of that?
So that's part of the inspection, is they'll have the logbook, and then they'll walk you through how they test it, and in theory, you should get the same results that their logbook shows, because they're doing the same, like,
Gotcha.
yeah, you witness them making the rice from start to finish. And it should give you what you see in the logbooks.
Okay. Ronnie, do you have any questions?
Just, again, my first question is, I can't tell if Mallory, did you grant the variance for the HACCP for the other one, for the fresh roll?
What variance?
For the HACCP?
No, there wasn't a variance. It was a condition that the HACCP be reviewed by Glenn.
Is
be
a
submitted.
variance required to use the HACCP plan in lieu of hot holding?
No.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Does she mean to use hot holding in lieu of a HACCP plan? Because the HACCP is the standard. You can use
Yeah,
the
but
hot
it's
holding
a-
with the time as a temperature.
The acidified rice process itself is considered a variance from the federal food code.
I thought that changed in the new code, though. No.
We just did it recently. I thought that we left that as a variance.
In our reg?
I thought as long as, I
it's
thought that
not.
was
It's
one that
not-
changed.
It's not an hour reg,
It's
it's in
the
the,
federal food code.
it's in the federal
Yeah.
food code.
I thought that was one of the changes where they no longer required a variance, but that the HACCP plan still has to be submitted.
Right.
But it was no
Yeah.
longer required as a
Okay.
variance, is what I was understood.
Okay.
But let's confirm that, because we'll have to go back and do it for the other ones, if that's not right. Caitlin, do you
I
have
can
it?
go,
Yeah,
I
do you
have it
wanna confirm?
downstairs. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
go
do you mind
confirm
doing
that.
that real quick?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because I don't think I have it loaded.
Well, it's 7:15. Do we want to just table this one for the moment being?
Yeah,
And we'll
go back to
continue
it.
on with the agenda for now. Does that sound okay, Ronnie? We'll table this one for a few minutes until we get that sorted out, and then that way we can continue with our 7:15 appointment. Is that okay with you, Ronnie?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Oh, we need a motion to.
I
table.
move to table the discussion of the food permit for Yummy Sushi
Okay.
until further in the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we should probably set a time certain, which would be, let's just say 7:30.
All right, until 7:30?
Yeah. Okay. Do we have a second?
A second?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we'll take our 7:15 PM appointment, which is a local upgrade approval for 30 Wilson's Grove. Glenn, if you could give us the background on this one, please.
Sure. The existing septic system was installed in 2005 that consisted of a stone and pipe trench. That system is an hydraulic failure. A new stone and pipe system is proposed in the same location, as there is nowhere else for the system to be installed. 6 variances are required, including a depth of groundwater variance and a side property line variance for for the soil absorption system. And one variance is not required, and Ronnie had pointed this out, that there is a variance that lists number 3, which states a 7.7-foot variance to a neighbor's dwelling, and there's no variance requirement to the dwelling itself. It's either to a cellar wall, a crawl space, or a slab, which the neighbor's dwelling does not have. It's on sonotubes.
Oh,
It's
wow.
on piles.
I looked up.
So there is no cellar, wall, or crawl space variance necessary, so that variance is not required. Also, the location of the vent, I couldn't find the location of the vent. I saw the location of the observation port on there. But I would recommend that the vent would be a passive vent and not attached to one of the laterals because it's a pump system. So that 4-inch perforated PVC pipe should be laid next to the laterals so that it vents the stone.
Oh, yeah.
I just wouldn't connect it directly to the lateral.
Oh, that is a tight squeeze. Where is this? Wilson's Grove?
Down in Papaneset.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, is this pressure dose or pressure distribution?
Pressure dose, there's a D-box.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I missed that.
Oh, yes. I've spoken with him about this.
Or you could vent,
Yeah.
you could vent the D-box too,
Yeah. I'm
which
just
might
remembering
be
this
a
job.
better,
Yeah.
way to do it.
Okay.
There's nothing really else you can do on this lot.
Yeah, and the groundwater that they're using is higher than the existing groundwater that was used in 2005. So their reduction from 5 feet to 4 feet, I think, is still more protective
Yeah.
than what they've
Yeah,
had
they're
before.
being conservative, so.
Yeah,
How are they gonna fit the tank?
the tank is
Is it
existing,
existing?
but because groundwater was found to be less than 4 feet below the existing leaching, they had to pump it up. And what we came up with is actually adding a concrete wall,
So that's what the
To-
block baffle,
yes,
Okay.
to the existing septic tank so that there's a pump chamber as the second compartment.
right?
It's only a 2-bedroom, so 1,000-gallon capacity still works for the first compartment.
Yeah, this is,
So I think it meets maximum feasible compliance.
Right.
There is somebody here to represent it too, if you have any other questions.
Okay. If you could just state your name in the microphone, and if you have anything you'd like to add to that description, we might have a few more questions for you.
Okay. Sam Iamelli with JC Engineering. As stated, projects 30 Wilson's Grove.
Sam, just make sure you're talking to the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
So we will be upgrading the existing septic system with a proposed new leaching field of 50 by 6 leaching fields in approximately the same location. And due to the high groundwater, we will be constructing the concrete baffle and installing the pump to pump the effluent up to a D-box and then into the leaching field consisting of perforated pipe and stone, which will be located in the driveway.
Okay.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
I just want to remind you too that you need to let the public comment on these topics. So, after, when you're done taking questions, hit the conference button and then announce to have people dial in if they have comments.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you that, kind of need to do that because the public themselves are not allowed in the building.
right.
Right, okay, okay. I think there's supposed to be a phone number up on the screen for folks to call in.
There is a phone number right in front of you on the table.
Down here.
Yeah.
For folks to call in.
Yeah.
We have the phone set up here, so when anybody does call in, okay.
Yep.
All right. It seems like it's mostly in order. It's the best solution for such a small lot. Not really much else I think you could do.
Could I suggest something?
Sure.
Okay. Having done septics out there, there's a great issue with groundwater, and we've lost a case with an inch. So I would definitely suggest to the board that they require a soil evaluation to determine where groundwater is at the time of installation.
Okay.
And that would be just the agent do it.
Right, right. So this soil oh, okay, this is from 2015, I see.
Because what happened was, what will happen is, it won't pass a septic inspection even with a foot variance if there's that little bit of a difference, you know?
Right.
Do you want to require an engineered as-built too, just to make sure that it goes in according to plan?
Yeah.
Definitely should,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Brian, I wrote down all the variances if you want me to call them out. Because there's so many.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, I think you.
I think
Any
it's the
other-
best solution for the lot. There's
yeah,
nothing else you can
yeah.
do.
I mean, until we get sewer down there, or whatever we end up with.
Short of a tight tank, you're not getting anything else in here.
No. I mean, the plan looks technically good, and I don't really see any glaringly obvious problems.
Kate, do you mind checking with the tech to see if that number was put on the screen?
Sure.
Thanks, I didn't get a chance to let them know that.
Yep.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so before we take the vote, if anyone would like to call in and comment on this particular appointment, they can. There's a phone number right here in front of me. I
Yep.
feel like I'm out Vanna White or something.
508-539-1449, and Brian just hit the conference number, it's on, there's a A and a B and a C on that right side of the phone there, and the C is a conference call number,
A, B, and C, oh, okay.
okay? And if anybody calls in, you'll hear them on that line.
Great,
That opened the line for them.
fantastic.
And
So-
there was an abutter who actually, who called us today. Didn't say that they were gonna call in, but it sounded like they had questions.
Okay.
I have
So,
the number up on the screen.
Oh, awesome.
oh, great.
Perfect.
So why don't we give 2 minutes for that, and just in case somebody's fumbling with a cell phone or whatever right now, or having some trouble connecting, and then we can continue on.
Is the line already open?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's open, yeah.
And do you, Sam, you notified the abutters on this?
Yes, I have the green card. Would you like that?
Okay, that'd be great.
Is there just one a butter?
You all set?
One affected abutter, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello? Hi there. This is the Mashpee Board of Health. You are on the line. I've actually got to make a little adjustment.
It really does sound like a
so that you
hotline.
can be
Sure.
heard from home. Hopefully, the microphone is able to pick up both of these.
Okay.
If you could please just identify yourself,
Yeah.
and then feel free to ask any questions or make any comments that you would like.
Yes, I'm Howie Neal at 28 Wilson Grove, a neighbor of 30. And
Okay?
and my only question was, is the finished grade of the leach field in the driveway going to be as the same as the existing?
So the question is, if the finished grade of the driveway, once this is complete, will it be the same as the existing grade?
Yes, proposed grades expected to match existing grade.
Okay, yes, the grades will be the same. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. My concern was me being able to get under my crawl space.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right,
The 1 foot drop to groundwater was part of that too, so that the grade did not have to be raised.
okay. Very good. Do you have any other questions or concerns you'd like to bring up?
No, I don't. No,
Okay.
I don't. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, so, Ronnie, did you have any other questions, or Mallory, do you have any?
Is beeping? Does that mean there's another caller, or
Is
is that
there-
him disconnecting?
Do we have another caller?
Oh,
I think-
he hung up.
Maybe that was him
Yeah.
disconnecting? Okay.
All right.
No, I move to approve the septic plan as designed for 30 Wilson's Grove, provided that a soil evaluation is performed at the time of installation, witnessed by a health agent, and an engineered as-built is provided.
Okay. I think that, does the motion need to remove that third variance request? Because it's not needed, or can we just consider it withdrawn?
I think we can consider it withdrawn because it doesn't really apply.
Doesn't
Okay.
exist, okay. Okay. Just looking for a second?
Did we lose it?
Ronnie, are you still there?
I am.
Okay.
I missed that. Who voted on that?
Oh, we haven't voted yet, I'm just waiting for your second on the motion.
Oh, okay. I'll second. Wait a minute, Brian, I'm missing this.
Sure, sure.
What am I voting on?
Would you like to just repeat
Sure.
that, repeat the motion for?
No problem.
For Ronnie's benefit,
I
please?
move to approve the septic plans as designed for 30 Wilson's Grove, provided that a soil evaluation is performed at the time of installation and witnessed by a health agent, and that an engineered as-built is completed.
Did you catch that?
No, because what's happening is Glenn and Mallory are cutting out on me. I can't hear it. You're fine. I can't hear. I can't. They're just cutting out every couple words, you know.
Oh, okay.
Could you just repeat what Mallory said, please?
I
Should I speak into the microphone, or should I speak closer to the phone?
guess here, how
Yeah,
about?
here, hand me
How
Rory,
about
or Ronnie.
Hang on, I'm moving you, Ronnie, hang on. You have violated the 6-foot separation.
Okay. I move to approve the septic plan for 30 Wilson's Grove as designed, provided that a soil evaluation is completed at the time of installation and witnessed by a health agent, and an engineered as-built is completed.
Okay, and I'll add to that.
Yes.
You just state all the variances, Mallory.
I don't think we do if it's listed on the plan.
Yeah, they're all listed out in number 23 in the notes.
Right.
Okay, well, you want to remove number 3.
No, Glenn said we didn't have to because it was just considered null.
Yeah, it's a non-existent variance.
Okay,
Yeah.
never done this where you never granted variances out loud. Okay.
Yeah, we don't usually.
Yeah, we typically, if they're on the plan, then, which they should be, and they're supposed to be, then we're approving the plan and the variances are part of the plan, so.
Okay,
Yep,
I second that.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to the 720 appointment, which is the local upgrade approval for 438 Quiniquisette Avenue.
I'm just gonna check to make sure that Dan is not outside,
Okay,
because, we did have a long discussion about abutter notifications, so I just wanna check, because he did know about the meeting.
Go check if you want.
Oh, great, okay, thanks.
okay.
Glenn, I have a question.
Yeah,
I noticed on the plan that it said it was a proposed easement. Have they not received, created an easement yet through the property owners?
this is for 438 Quiniquisette?
Yep.
Well, this is for the septic plan, not for the sewer plan.
It's for the sewer connection, isn't it?
No,
Well, it's just.
it's not for the
430
sewer, it's not for the sewer connection. The owner wanted, wants a Title V plan put in.
He what?
The owner wants a Title V plan put back in. We're, the engineer's here, so, I'm gonna let him,
Oh, you know what, I think the confusion is that our packet only has the sewer plan in it, which is probably what Ronnie's looking at.
oh, okay, that may have been all we had electronically. Shoot. Okay. All right. Well, you want me to start, or do you want to have Dan start?
Yeah, why don't you get started?
Okay.
Yeah.
The property of 438 Quiniquisette, there was a filing back in 2018, in May of 2018, for a Title V plan that came before the board with several variances. This is a property that is next to Katuitt Bay condominiums and right next to the Santuit River. And because of the variances and the location of the house and the septic system, I had recommended that the engineer look into tying the property into the sewer collection system for Katuitt Bay condominiums, which ultimately gets pumped and treated by the Southworth Willow Bend wastewater treatment plant. And so the owner went through getting permission from both the Southworth, Willow Bend, and also Katuitt Bay condominiums, and then found out through the dealings with DEP, the owner found out that they had to modify the existing groundwater discharge permit that was issued to Willow Bend, for the Willow Bend wastewater treatment plant. And because that is a long and expensive process, the owner has made us aware that he wants to install the Title V system again. So here we are almost 2 years later, and we're back to the originally proposed Title V plan, which is a fast system, UV disinfection, with a pump to a 20 by 25 foot leach field, which has short distances to the coastal bank and Santuit River. So at this point, but the one point that I wanted to make is that the owner right now is just stating that the modification to the wastewater treatment plant, or the modification to the groundwater discharge permit right now is going to be more costly than the actual Title V installation. And typically when there's a statement like that made, we try to get some proof as far as what the Title V system will cost and what the cost of the engineering for the modification will cost, just to confirm that, as far as to get some estimates on that. But before we go granting, putting a septic system in 24 feet from a coastal bank here. So, was where I'm at, and Dan is certainly here to add any more to that.
Sure, I could just give it a couple minutes. Dan Ojala, I'm a civil engineer and surveyor with Down Cape Engineering in Yarmouthport, and helping Stuart Bornstein. Stuart has sold the house to some folks. No one's been in this for a while, just as background. They had a pipe burst over the winter and a big insurance claim, and so it just has sat vacant until just about now. But it's got a cesspool that was quite close to the groundwater down here, another one that's here and quite deep. It's probably fairly close to the groundwater. We had originally taken Glenn's suggestion and pushed hard to get the sewer in. We came up with a design and talked to the folks at Bay Point Condominium. They were fairly amenable to it. They told us we'd really have to clear it through Willow Bend. If they said yes, they would probably say yes. We talked to the Willow Bend attorneys, and they got concerned about a DEP extension permit. So I touched base with Brian Dudley at DEP, and he's like, whoa, we don't just allow anybody to connect into these now. There's got to be a big three-party agreement between everybody. You got to redo all the permits, and it just, it took them a little while to get it back to us with that answer, but it was, from a legal point of view, it's going to be extremely complex to do that. So Stuart has asked for us to present this to the board for consideration. It's just, the timing and the expense of going through three different parties of, a modification to a major permit for one single-family house. It just appeared to be extremely onerous and time-consuming. The selling points on this, I would say, for an on-site system are, a couple fold. I mean, while not as nice as a sewer system, what this does give you is a tremendous improvement over existing conditions. As you may have known from the fail and wait study of Title V, and also from the work that George Hoyfelder has done at the county, the vertical separation between the groundwater and the bottom of the system is critical for removal of pathogens and virus. And here and then another thing that really helps that out too is pressure dosing, where you don't get just under the D box, a big surge, where you might get a vertical water column that would have some pathogens get down. Here we're doing a pressure dosing out over the entire field, and you can see we've got well over 5 feet. We've got 6.5 feet to the adjusted groundwater, and that's on top of having a treated system and then the UV disinfection. So while it's horizontally fairly close, and again, to the mean high water, it's a little further, it is a dry resource area, that coastal bank. So you've got some additional footage there to the wet resource area. But more importantly, I think you've got that strong vertical component, and you've got a number of factors that, it's not quite as good as a sewer. We're knocking down maybe 40% of the nitrogen, where they'll get, up quite in excess of that out. And of course, they'll have some tertiary treatment, and the discharge site is further from the river. I think that it's a very safe situation. I think the board could find their way to granting this variance. We've got pressure dosing, we've got 6.5 feet, we've got IA, we've got UV, and doing the maximum feasible compliance that we can on this site. Again, the test is, if a sewer is available, you should hook up. We tried mightily for it. We kept getting, the slow walk and then legal hurdles, and it just seemed insurmountable to go and do a three-way agreement with these major players, and all the insurance or whatever the costs are that go with it, and being like this one little house is part of a huge membership as a third party. It just seemed very onerous to Mr. Bornstein. He was dealing with his attorneys on that. I wasn't directly involved in those discussions. I did give him Brian Dudley's number, and I know they talked several times. But so that's the ask. Again, there's some variances here, but it's much, much better than it was, and I think it's pretty much a state-of-the-art Title V system. And again, you've got that nice vertical separation to protect the environment, knocks down the nitrogen, and it protects from viruses and pathogens. So that would be what we'd request, and we sure would appreciate the variances being granted, and I would be glad to answer any questions if you have them.
Glenn, has this plan been before conservation yet?
Yes.
What were their notes on it?
I did not hear any notes, but they've got the approval, because I know that the
Okay.
silt fence, and I did speak with Drew, because the contractor went out there and had done some work in the backyard, and Drew had gone out and seen that they had put the silt fence up, and so he was okay with what they had done. It's definitely a tough situation right next to the river.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a Title V system in there.
Yeah, there's an old Title V, and there's another cesspool for the bathroom basement that's even closer to the river. So it's going to be a big improvement over what's there now. As good as a sewer, not quite, but it's darn close with that separation that we've got, the pressure dosing, the IA, the UV. I think we're doing, everything we possibly can to make it as good as possible on the site. Okay.
Okay. Ronnie, do you have any questions on this one?
I don't have the plan, so
Oh, that's right.
Glenn, how are you with this plan?
I'm okay with it. It is a definite improvement. I would love to see the property tied into sewer, but, in this case, if that's not a viable option, there was a Title V system there, and this is a far cry improvement on the Title V that was there, so it still gets us there kind of begrudgingly, but it gets us there.
Yeah, that's a difficult piece of property.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's the best solution. It's a shame that after all that, it couldn't be connected to the sewer. That's a little disappointing, given the imperative in Title V to connect to sewer where feasible.
Right.
We tried
they
and we
make it
got
not
held up
feasible.
by the state bureaucracy on that one.
Yeah.
So they made their own regulation infeasible.
Right.
Shocking.
Well, the municipal sewer would have been a totally different story, but it's a private plant, and they extended just to get the condo involved, and then to get a third party. It's just,
Yeah,
it should be a municipal, if it's a municipal sewer, we're in, and all of us can be happier, but
Yeah,
it's,
maybe down the line when the town takes over some of the plants,
Yeah.
that could be done.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
it would be, when sewer becomes available, we'd be glad to hook up, because that's gonna save us electricity, it's gonna save us O&M plan, and it's gonna help the environment. But at this point, it's just very, very tough to do. I mean, if we had 20 or 40 houses, the economies of scale would make it economically feasible, but we just feel it's a real variance hardship to force all that heavy lifting and paperwork and refiling and hearings and notices, and it's just a real red tape quagmire to get one house connected. And we've got a pretty good solution here. Like Glenn said, it's a far cry from what's there now, better. So.
yeah, I mean, I try not to give, despite working with IA systems professionally, I try not to give them more credit than they deserve, but I think this is, I mean, treatment-wise, this is a pretty good setup. I mean, yeah.
Yep. I think that's the best you can get. All right.
So, just real quick, what approval are we're using general approval for nitrogen reduction or just standard secondary treatment for this? 'Cause there's a distinction.
It's not nitrogen removal, it's not in the zone 2.
It's not in a zone 2?
No.
Okay.
So, it would be, a remedial approval, I would think.
Okay.
But we're not seeking any reduction of groundwater or anything, so, and these fast systems are, they're pretty robust. They do have a general permit for D-Nite, pretty well-proven technology.
Yeah, they're all right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they can always get a little better, but,
Do you have an O&M lined up already? Have you received anything?
No, because
Okay.
this is the first we've gotten back
Okay.
to doing a Title V here, so.
It'll be wastewater treatment services. They
Yeah.
pretty much compulsory when they,
Really?
because they're the distributor in the area, they're also the
For the
primary
first 2 years
servicer, so
anyways, yeah.
Just right off the bat, it's always in.
It's pretty much the first 2 years,
Yeah.
they're the contract, and then folks will either stick with them or go elsewhere.
What's their
after.
track record? Are they pretty consistent?
They're a pretty good company.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They are. The fast treatment unit itself, there are better, out there than fast. Fast is a little cheaper, costs a bit to run. That blower runs 24/7, 365, so that's, tends to be an issue with some folks. We've had issues with those blowers being shut off. They use between 8 and 10 kilowatt hours a day, which adds up really quickly.
Right.
So
if
there
you
is a
run them
significant.
on 220, does it help a little, I would imagine?
I don't think you get much efficiency out of a 220 blower, really.
I know, well, the power is the volts times the amps, but they only measure the amps. If you double the voltage, you can cut the amps in half and get
Yeah.
the same output. I
Yeah.
learned that when I put a swimming pool in, you go to 220 and you cut your electric bill in half. We'll look into that and see
You
what we can
can-
do.
yeah,
It's
you
the
can
pumps,
gain-
they would be the same amount of air, but half the amperage, which is what they bill you for.
Yeah, you can get the, a little bit more efficiency out of them, and also a little bit more longevity out of a 220 pump, or any motor, just generally speaking. So it's a lower maintenance cost over time. These blowers do have some issues. They've been replaced a number of times, so. Okay.
All right, I move to approve the septic plans as designed for 438 Quiniquisette Avenue with the condition that all DEP and BOH, or Board of Health, regulations are met by the owner and operator of the UV and D-Night system.
Okay. Did you catch that, Ronnie?
I did. You want to throw in the requirements for the operations, the O&M for the system for DEP requirements?
Yeah, we might as well.
Didn't I-
The remedial requirements, which would be,
How do you want me to report it?
um,
Wouldn't it just fall under complying with all DEP regulations?
yeah, I think she's just asking to state them in the record.
To comply with the remedial approval?
Yeah.
The DEP remedial approval?
Yeah.
For the system?
Yeah, I think, would that suffice for you, Ronnie?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good.
Thank you very much for your
That's it.
time.
Thanks,
you.
Dan.
Thank
And,
you.
I just learned tonight that there's a hospital in Western Mass where 70 nurses just tested positive for the coronavirus, so it's contagious as heck.
70?
Be careful, yeah, in one hospital,
haven't
just
heard
found
that
out
yet.
tonight. So be careful, treat
Thank
everybody
you.
like you have it.
Yeah, you also.
You too.
Thanks for coming out.
Take care,
Okay.
Dan.
Our 7:25 appointment, which is a preliminary review of Title V variances for 24 Porthole Drive. Glenn, if you could give us the background on this one, please.
Yep. The owner's proposing a full foundation addition to his dwelling at 24 Porthole Drive. That requires a variance to the existing soil absorption system. A variance of 13 feet is requested to allow 7 feet to be between the cellar wall and the soil absorption system. In 2007, an emergency upgrade was performed to replace the failed leach pit. The existing SAS is approximately 17 feet from the existing cellar wall. Title V requires 20 feet to a cellar wall, and the owner is creating their own hardship, so the board does not have to grant this variance. An addition can be placed on sonotubes where no variance would be required. I have not reviewed any floor plans, so I don't know what is in the proposed addition as far as bedrooms. The property is not in Zone 2, but the soil absorption system is sized for only 3 bedrooms. So this is a preliminary review, so it's just to see if the board would entertain this type of variance for this addition.
Do you have a site plan? Can I look at that?
Yes.
Okay. If you could state your name for the record, and then if you'd like to add anything to that, or,
My name is William Eslick. I'm the owner of 24 Porthole Drive.
okay. So is there a particular reason to do this particular addition in this direction on the house? Is it a?
It's going to be a living room. So anywhere else, if we go behind the house, there's the D-box, and if we go on the other side, it's going to put it on the other side of the bedrooms. So, without doing any kind of remodeling inside the house, it's a logical place to put it.
Okay.
don't know that we're necessarily inclined to grant variances when you're creating a need for them yourself. It's not typically been our behavior as a board.
We're just trying to, you know, create additional living space for our son who's getting older. And, you know, it's, you know, nothing that hasn't been granted before. You know, with the barrier between the gravel and the foundation, or it being, you know, closer to the setback. Because apparently when the houses were built, they weren't very careful about the placement of the houses as in respect to the property lines. So it made for very, you know, skewed, our house is very skewed on the plot. So it just makes it difficult for us to, you know, add on.
Have you looked into sonotubes though? Like why the full foundation? What's the need for the full foundation?
Additional living space without having to, you know, make the, you know, two-story house.
It's just a ranch now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you gonna have to go in front of the ZBA for the setback for the addition to that side property line?
Assumably. I'm not familiar with this process, so I can,
Yeah, well, I don't know what the building setback is on that side, so I don't know if the addition itself is gonna need to go to ZBA.
well, I know it's forward of the 40-foot setback from the road, but apparently there's a variance that can be applied when the property on one side is further
Right, the average of the two properties beside
And we had that
you.
surveyed, so
Yep.
that plan is, you know, in accordance with that.
Yeah, I was just
variance.
talking about the side property line. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, granted, we do give variances in cases where we've required the liner material to be placed between a foundation and the home. However, those cases are typically where a leach field has failed and needs to be replaced. It's not usually a situation where someone is doing, which it's not technically new construction in Title V, unless we're talking about increase in flow.
Right.
I mean, if you're talking bedrooms, then, you know, without a layout, if you are trying to add a bedroom, you would have to properly size your septic system to go.
It's actually gonna have a front door, and it's not a bedroom.
Okay, we'd have to see floor plans, you know,
Yeah,
we'd have
definitely.
to see
Yeah.
a lot more detail for that.
Is that something that you're
I mean, if
likely
you.
not going to, only because we would have to go in front of, you know, we'd have to go to the, you know, the architect and have it redrawn out again, which would be the second time, and then brought before you again in order
I
to.
don't know that it would have to be stamped floor plans,
Yeah.
but certainly something, or even just a walkthrough with one of the health agents to take I don't know, something
Yeah, we just
to
need to-
verify it.
Well,
We
that-
need to know what you're adding, and the other thing for me is I wouldn't approve this with a full foundation like
No.
that. I mean, if you want to do something like this, you'd have to get it up on piles or something.
This is a
It's-
preliminary
it's-
review anyway, so we wouldn't get floor plans with that.
Or even if you wanted to shift it to the rear of the house so that you only had to move the tank. I mean, that might be something that we're amenable to, but I just am not inclined to approve something
Yeah,
like this.
or I don't know if you can shift it forward on the property so that you're moving away from your leach
Right.
field. I mean, there's just too many questions. I mean, obviously, we're not approving anything tonight, but as this stands, I don't think we'd be able to approve anything like this. Yeah, I mean, you brought up the impervious barrier, you would have to excavate, even if we allowed that, you would have to excavate around your field and put an impervious barrier in. It's just,
I mean, it's 7 feet from the gravel, so I mean, I don't see it as disturbing anything.
well, the setbacks are 20 feet, and you're well into 20 feet at that point. I mean, it's not like it's a couple feet where I could see, you know, maybe be a little bit on the more lenient side with that, but a 7-foot setback, I mean, I would have trouble if this was brand-new construction, or if this was even just a remedial replacement situation, I would have trouble with granting a variance for a 7-foot separation like that. So, yeah, that's too tough of a one for me to,
Yeah, I agree.
Ronnie trying to chime in, or?
Yeah, Ronnie, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, that pretty much says it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think unfortunately, as it stands, we wouldn't approve something like this. If you came back with something on, like I said, the suggestion was put it on piles or something like that, I know you would lose the full basement space, but, I mean, that's really,
Understood. Like I said, we're aware of the variances, so we, wanted to ask, and
yeah,
I appreciate your time, and
okay,
thank you
Yeah.
for taking a look at that.
very good, okay.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
I just want to ask, I don't think that this is a topic that needs to go for public comment, but was 435 Quiniquisette something that should have been open for public comment?
438, whatever number it was.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We should probably open it up to each of the, for each of the topics anyways, but 438 certainly.
438, okay.
It didn't have to notify the abutters because they were maximum feasible compliance
Okay.
variances. And they did not meet any, so they weren't full Title V variances where they needed to notify the abutters. But,
Okay, how can we handle this?
Yeah.
Because
do
I don't
we
know,
Reopen the topic?
we would
or
have to
what would
reopen
we-
it, and Dan's not here, so.
right,
If anyone has, I guess, any issues with 438 Quiniquisette, or would have liked the opportunity to have called in and offer their opinion or ask questions on that particular item, I would say, call the health department tomorrow.
Yep.
If there are serious enough concerns, we can certainly reopen it and
Is it
take
on the
another
next
look.
agenda?
Yeah.
That's
I think-
fine.
I think that's the best thing, because
yeah,
there wouldn't be any opportunity for rebuttal from
correct.
the applicant. And since the other one was just a preliminary review, I don't think there's really much we have to do there in terms of public comment. However, if anyone would like to call in on that particular issue, please feel free. Okay.
All right, do we want to return to
Yes.
Yummy Sushi?
What'd you find?
Yes.
So what I found is that there is a variance requirement in here for using food additives or adding components such as vinegar as a method of food preservation rather than as a method of flavor enhancement or to render a food so that it is not a TCS, time or temperature control of safety food. There is a reduced oxygen packaging without a variance option, but not for the acidified rice. So you would have to grant the variance for that.
We need to reopen fresh
Fresh
roll.
roll. Right, and amend that,
Right.
motion.
Good catch, Ronnie.
Okay, so then let's just finish up Yummy Sushi and then go back to the other. Yeah.
But she's not here.
They
Does she
they
need to
weren't,
be
Yummy
here?
Sushi wasn't here before.
No, but fresh roll was. Would she need to be here to reopen it?
No, if she has an issue with the actual board's decision, she has a right to appeal, so.
Okay.
No, she doesn't have to be here for that part, for an amendment of the decision.
We're
Okay.
just granting a variance, and it doesn't change anything. really.
Right, doesn't
Right.
change the fact that she still has to provide the full HACCP plan,
Okay.
which meets the mitigation for the variance.
Okay.
Okay, so,
So do you want to finish Yummy Sushi and then
yeah,
go
let's
back?
finish up.
Okay.
Are there any, do you have any comments or questions, anybody, on Yummy Sushi?
No, I don't think so. Go back to their packet here.
Except that they have no serve safe and no
Well, right,
allergy
yeah, They
awareness.
still owe us certificates, but.
And we will still inspect them prior to issuance of their permit and also to check their HACCP plan, which we did when their counterparts opened up at Roche Brothers.
Okay. So certs, inspection.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Ronnie, on Yummy Sushi?
Nope, you're doing that for both of them, right?
Yeah, we'll have to,
Well,
we'll reopen the other one after we finish with this one.
Yeah. No, I kind of knew there was a variance involved with that, so,
Okay.
So, how should we word it? Variance for food additive. Can you say it again, Caitlin, how it's worded in the code?
It's a special process for acidified rice.
Thank you. So it'll be two motions, right? One to approve the variance, and then the second to approve the permit?
You can do it that way, sure.
Is it? Okay. I move to approve the variance for Yummy Sushi to approve the special process for acidified rice.
Okay.
A second?
Okay?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I move to approve the food permit for Yummy Sushi pending the receipt by the health department of their allergen awareness and serve safe certificates and a passing food inspection.
A second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, I think we just need a motion to reopen the
I
other.
move to reopen the discussion of the food permit for Fresh Roll.
Okay, just need a second, Ronnie?
Sorry, that just cut out entirely. What is?
Oh,
Nellie,
so the motion was just to reopen the fresh roll one, so we can do the variance for that.
Oh, okay. I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and now the,
Okay.
Oh,
so-
wait a minute. Brian,
yes,
I forgot. I want to find out where their fish is coming from.
Fish for Fresh Roll?
oh, fresh roll was,
For Yummy.
It was just vegetables, wasn't it?
But no, the yummy sushi.
oh, for Yummy Sushi?
Yeah.
Well, we can ask that on
Yeah.
a side with the owners.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the applicant wasn't here for that one regardless, so we couldn't get an answer to that question right now,
Okay.
either way.
But we can still ask that.
The health agents can approve the
There's
sources.
there's a lot, yeah, there's a lot of stuff missing.
On which one? Fresh roll?
We haven't, I'm sorry, I thought Mallory had started to motion for the yummy sushi. She didn't yet.
No, that was the one we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
so-
just, well, there's no serve safe, there's no allergy, there's,
Right, that was part of the motion, Ronnie, was that they had to submit that to the department.
yeah, and then we did the pH too, right? No, but my whole point is, there's a lot of stuff missing.
Okay, well, they have,
Stuff that can't be approved by Caitlin or Glenn, or what are you?
No, I just meant maybe they should provide that stuff before we go ahead and grant them a permit.
Well, they provided the HACCP plan, and we'll check that at the, during the inspection. We'll go through the HACCP plan with the acidified rice process before they get their permit.
Okay,
We'll do that as part of their opening inspection.
okay, then that's fine.
okay.
I'll second then.
Did you make that? We didn't make the variance motion yet, sorry.
No,
So-
we just moved to open.
Yeah,
for
so-
fresh
So
roll.
the last thing we voted on was to reopen fresh roll so that we could approve the variance for the
I'm sorry.
pH. That's okay.
Two in one night in a row.
Yeah, and we have the complication of doing it over the phone and
Yeah.
all the
yeah.
other stuff that's going on in the world right now, so. Okay, so variance for fresh roll.
But we didn't vote to reopen it yet, then?
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that
okay.
was the last thing we did.
I don't remember
So
voting.
now- yeah. You made the motion.
I remember making the motion, I don't remember voting. Oh,
we did.
lordy. Okay, so now I move to approve a variance to approve the special process for acidified rice for fresh roll.
Okay.
Did you catch that, Ron?
Were you able to hear that, Ronnie?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I'll
Somewhat.
second. I know what she motioned.
Do you want me to move the phone closer to Mallory so you can hear it? I don't
Yes,
mind.
please.
Okay.
But put it,
Yeah, I guess we could just kind of,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just bring her over here. Yeah.
okay. You are now permanently chair. Good luck.
Okay, So the motion was to approve a variance for special process for acidified rice for fresh roll.
Oh my God, that's so much better. You have no idea. I can hear everything you said. Okay. I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty. All right, number 5, nomination of animal inspectors. From sushi to animals.
I know, all over the place.
I'm sorry, where are we?
Number 5, nomination of animal inspectors.
No one knows what's going on anymore.
Okay, it is that time of year when we nominate animal inspectors to the Department of Agricultural Resources because it is a state-appointed position. The board makes a recommendation for the 2 animal inspectors. Don Chicoine was the inspector, and there was a gap after Ronnie retired, and Caitlin Gardepy as the assistant health agent is written in as the next second animal inspector. I just need the board to make the recommendation.
I move to nominate Caitlin Gardepy as the co-inspector of animals.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's 2 committees now.
I know, right?
That's 2 things.
Racking them up.
Okay, so we just need Dawn and Caitlin to sign it and have it notarized, and then we can send it off to the state.
Okay, okay. Well, we might as well stick under new business unless we want to talk about coronavirus last, or,
Might as well, let's just talk about it now.
I'm sorry, did you also nominate Dawn too, or did you just nominate Kate?
Caitlin, do we have to renominate
Yes,
him?
we renominate
Oh,
Dawn
okay.
also.
I move to re-nominate Donald Chacon as inspector of animals.
I'll second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, so item number 6, COVID-19 update, AKA coronavirus.
Okay, so, Kate and I have been, busy, obviously, offering more, communication-based and education-based information to the public via both the, do you have your form? Okay.
You heard that, right?
Is Ronnie still there?
Ronnie, are you still there?
I think that was the sound of it hanging up. Yeah.
Hello?
Hi, you're back.
No, I got disconnected somehow.
Okay, well, you are back. Okay.
Okay, what we have done is we had meetings with the school department, with the senior center, and with the council on aging, staff regarding proper cleaning, cleaning methods, the chemicals to be used, and the scheduling of when to clean and what to clean, and also food preparation, for each of those departments. We met with the fire department along with the 3 long-term care facilities with Bridges of Mashpee, Laurentide, and Royal of Catuit. Again, regarding food preparation, ordering of supplies, and emergency response protocols where the fire department has changed how they respond to to different calls based upon the threat level and the changing community transmission. We have had supply requests from one of the funeral homes and one of the long-term care facilities, which we've passed up to the state for supplies from the Strategic National Stockpile. So those are in process. We've had numerous calls on people with potential exposure from either traveling, returning from overseas, or exposure to others, the different symptoms, and what to do if they get symptoms, and as far as the testing. We've been communicating with the county health department and Cape Cod Healthcare regarding their response. We've been updating the Board of Health and town websites with current information. And we've been listening to conference calls from both the federal, the CDC, and the state factions, Department of Public Health, where MEMA and other state departments have been included in that. And that's all been in response to the COVID-19. And the Department of Public Health is having the Tuesday afternoon conference calls, and those are probably the primary one that we've been keeping in touch with. But both Barnstable County and there was another one today that we had listened to, which
Well, there was a Health Agents Coalition one, but that wasn't the one today.
there was another state one today
Yeah.
too, that I forget who that was, because it was
Have it here.
a woman that I had never dealt with before.
Oh, it was with the COVID-19 response team from, Kelly Driscoll from the
Yes.
Executive Office of Health and Human Services.
Okay, thank you. So, we've been kind of doing liaison work and education work at the local level here to all kinds of different factions. And Kate has been doing quite a bit of the email work, and she's got a whole list of stuff that she's done too. I just wanted her to go through that.
Sure, yeah, so there is a lot of overlap here. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes since we last were before the board. So as of right now, there are 5 confirmed cases on the Cape, none of which are in Mashpee, and 328 cases in Massachusetts as a whole. So other stuff that we've been working on, we've reached out to Stop and Shop in Mashpee just to reach out and start a dialogue about their current protocols. We just put out some crisis counseling resources, including Mass 211 Call to Talk for people that are experiencing isolation and anxiety as a result of this crisis. Our other resource was Gail Wilson for Mashpee Human Services. So those services are going to be available on Mashpee Channel 18, as well as on the website. We've been in communication with our VNA representative. The coronavirus webpage for Mashpee Board of Health is being updated frequently. We have closed all town hall and buildings to the public for the time being per the town manager. In addition to that, we've communicated with food establishments regarding the governor's ban on gatherings of over 25 people and limiting food service to takeout and delivery only. We have communicated also with our local septic installers, inspectors, engineers, and real estate agents about the town hall closure. We've contacted all town employees about precautions to avoid getting sick, staying home when sick, and other resources for information. Glenn mentioned all the conference calls that we're on with DPH, the Health Agents Coalition, MHOA. Glenn put together a Mashpee coronavirus response plan that he brought before the Board of Selectmen on Monday, and has also been working on a continuance of operations plan for the town and for the Board of Health specifically. We have also talked to IT. We've been communicating with with them a lot about accessing voicemails remotely in case we get calls on the weekends, setting up conference calls and remote access for our Board of Health meetings, and resources for if employees need to work from home, just so we have that in place in case it's necessary. In addition to that, we've put in a request through Barnstable County for funding for the next month for the increase in expenses that we're anticipating for our contract with the VNA. And we have also offered our surplus H1N1 supplies to the county and HMCC. So we're waiting to hear back from them on that. So, yeah.
Yeah?
Any questions?
So are you still taking in septic plans, business as usual in that capacity? Do you have a Dropbox? Do you have-
Business as usual. We
Okay.
have the Dropbox out front where the plans are being dropped up, but where we're doing the majority of our permitting electronically
Right,
through Permitize.
that helps.
It helps tremendously, so we really haven't slowed down as far, and that's been an issue, is we're dealing with so much of the COVID-19 response, is that we're still trying to meet our daily routine, and it's been difficult, so, but it is great working electronically, receiving everything electronically.
Yeah.
And the only time that we receive the paper plans is once the application has been approved and the plans have been reviewed online.
So still completing perk tests and septic inspections and,
Yep, we're still going out we did perks today, we're still going out on septic installations, we're still looking at failures for the septic inspections, we're still taking questions on all of the above.
I did
Kate
some
is still
food
doing food
inspections.
inspections.
that's okay, that was gonna be my next
Yep,
question.
the
with
retail,
restaurants still being
retail
open,
food
so-
inspections.
Yep.
And we'll get back to doing the full food service, because I'm not sure right now who is shut down totally
Right.
and who is working on a takeout basis. But that's our next step really, because we're finishing up the retail food inspections.
Okay.
Right, right. Is there any opportunity to backstop your staff with additional town staff that may be available to assist you? Is there any possibility there, do you think?
I suppose it is. If we're gonna have some funding source, I think that is something we could look at.
Yeah, just to give you.
Yeah, I
even
know
just some
that,
answer to the
That
phone.
15 million from the state, though, is gonna get eaten up pretty quick.
by the
imagine it
healthcare,
will. I imagine
yeah.
it will.
Yeah.
I know that there are some volunteers available through the county. I think that they just did, like recruiting session.
For the MRC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last weekend. So we know that resource is potentially available.
Even just to man the phones so that you guys, have a
Well,
little
Christine's
reprieve
actually
there.
been, she's been doing a good job with
Yeah.
keeping the phones going, so.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
we're getting by, all right? It's just a matter of keeping up with paperwork.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As always.
Of course,
Yeah.
right.
I recall earlier in the week, you had an email back and forth with the rec department about the playgrounds.
Right.
Have they acted on that recommendation?
I have not seen a response from the town manager on that.
Okay, all right.
Has it been an ongoing issue?
I don't believe so. It's just a matter that the rec director contacted me to see if the playgrounds was something that should be shut down, which I agreed.
Right.
But certainly, I sent an email to the rec director to that effect and let the town manager know, and he agreed with me verbally, but the rec director wanted to make sure that the selectmen, or to see if the selectmen needed to be involved with that decision, and I deferred at that point to the town manager to see if he would take that to them, so, and I have not heard back on that.
No.
But in my opinion, I think that the playgrounds were certainly an area that needed to be avoided because of the congregation of the kids and the common hand surfaces that are touched and are
Yeah.
with a very difficult cleaning surface and also schedule of cleaning.
Right.
To not have any spread of disease there. So I thought that it was something that should be avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to take
definitely.
away the playgrounds as an option for kids, but at the
Right.
same time,
Right.
I mean, I think if barring the selectmen doing something, I think it would be entirely within the board's purview to be able to close playgrounds as a potential, you know, public health emergency concern if we,
Yeah.
I mean, that's within our authority to do, so. Have you heard anything from the daycares in town? Are they, what are they kind of,
I have not heard from any of the daycares in town.
okay,
The daycares are actually under a different division of the state. And I don't know, and this is one thing that I was kind of curious about. Granted, I know the Board of Health oversees all communicable disease in town.
Right.
But as far as the actual, they're talking about the licensing, and the state is looking at closing and then opening emergency daycares, all of that has to be done by the state.
right, right.
Because with it, the permitting authority is not under the Board of Health.
Right.
But as far as any issues or comments or any other problems at the daycares, I have not heard of anything.
Yeah, okay, okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a program with the Human Services Department that provides some rental and mortgage payment assistance if needed. Is that still, does that program still exist?
I do not know.
Okay, I thought there was, I thought it was under Mashpee Human Services. It was a small fund of money that was available.
Was that
I don't know.
USDA or was that?
No, no, I thought it was, I thought it was a Mashpee program. I remember reading about that probably 4 years ago or so.
Did you say it was rental assistance?
Yeah,
Okay.
rental assistance and mortgage assistance for people who, you know, need a little bit of help getting by for a couple of months. I thought that was one of the programs that they were running over there.
No, Brian, that's the private organizations that are out there that have those programs for people, having
Okay.
been a member of the Human Services Committee.
Okay, okay. I don't know where I heard that from. Okay,
Daycare centers
Yeah.
are mandated to
We
close
don't-
Monday,
the-
is
the-
what I heard,
The Human Services Committee doesn't have that kind
Sorry.
of funding.
going backwards.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I think they just, Human Services, I think
Yeah.
maybe connects them with people. I don't think they actually have a pot of
They don't
money,
have
but
a-
yeah,
a
I'm not
fund
100%
available.
sure on
Okay.
that.
Okay. Well, hopefully we're, you know, either nationally or regionally or something, we can come up with something for folks, because I know there's been a lot of discussion about, you know, suspending foreclosures and evictions for 90 days, but, I mean, at the end of 90 days,
Right.
they're going to
If
be
they haven't
people-
worked for those 90 days, there's still
Yeah,
no help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would hope that, you know, the Human Services folks would be able to assist some of those situations. So the other question I had was regarding some of the shortages of critical items. In your discussions with Stop and Shop, have you heard anything about, you know, what their sort of plan is for replenishing sort of critical items? I mean, I hate to bring up the toilet paper thing, but, you know, it's like, at some people, somebody, you know, people are gonna need it. so-
Not heard specifically from Stop and Shop on the restocking item. I know that they've announced on the news that they're working on it, and their trucks are certainly still running and operating. So, but I have not heard specifically about this store.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's gonna start to become a problem for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, and, you know, a lot of people, I mean, if you look in the aisle, it's completely cleaned out. They took,
Yeah.
they took everything. But I just want to make, for anybody who happens to be listening and happens to be on a sewer or a septic system, please, please, please do not flush the wipes that say that they're flushable,
They
because
are
they're
not
not
flushable.
flushable.
You will be purchasing a new septic
Yes.
system in the near future if you start to do
Yes.
that.
So, or you will be plugging the sewer lines and making a very nasty job for some poor sewer worker who would probably rather be at home. So please do not flush the wipes, or even paper towels, or anything that's not toilet paper, or pee or poop, frankly. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sort of note of that.
Well, I guess, Brian, they did replenish the toilet tissue today.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it was on the news.
What,
Oh.
this morning?
No, this afternoon.
Oh.
I guess around noon time.
It's probably gone by now.
Yeah, I was at our Stop and Shop at, it was probably about noontime when I was there, and there wasn't anything yet, so maybe I just missed it.
Yeah, probably.
And some of the
Well,
smaller
that's what the
convenience
news said,
stores
so I'm
still.
assuming maybe they hadn't got to
Yeah.
that store yet, but they were replenishing.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Some of the smaller convenience stores still have toilet paper too.
Well,
that's good.
that's
That's
good.
good. At least it's out there somewhere.
Though I do hear a story that somebody went into Mashpee Mini Mart and asked to purchase everything that they had. So, I mean, I'm sure there are still people out there who are,
Not surprising.
Yeah.
yeah, just not good times. So, you know, maybe not hoard so much toilet paper when it's back on the shelf and make sure everybody gets some. That would be great. The only other question I had kind of thought of as you were talking about the restaurants is, as we're sort of reopening restaurants that have been closed for 3 weeks, are there any sort of concerns there with expired food, you know? I mean, do you do inspections once they're starting to reopen, or?
We can certainly do that at this point. I'm not sure who is closed and who is not, so we'd have to do
Right.
an inventory as far as, no one has notified us that they're closed, which they are supposed to do, but, right now, we have not heard of anybody who is specifically closed.
Oh, okay, okay.
But that is something that we should look into as far as going back in and checking temps and checking their food supply before they get going again.
Yeah, yeah, that would be, I mean, if it goes on for longer than 3 weeks, you know,
Yeah.
which I hope we don't have to go to that length, but, okay.
If you're thinking about closing it out, just open it up to public comment, just,
Sure, sure.
if anybody has any questions, that's all, I'm just offering that.
So, if anybody is still watching at 8:30 and you have any questions about coronavirus in general or Mashpee's plan to respond to it, please feel free to call on the number that is right here, which I can't read unfortunately.
539-1449 is the conference call line open. You just have to hit the button again.
It should still be open. I don't think I touched it. So, yeah, it's still
Oh,
open.
it's open now, okay.
Yep. So, if you would like to call in, please feel free. So I guess if anybody calls in, we can come back, but why don't we move
Move it
along?
on.
So we're not here all night. Under old business, review of the draft short-term rental property regulation. Did the revised version of this go out?
I don't think so. Glenn was editing it a little earlier.
I don't think I'd seen it.
Did I send this to you?
No,
You did not.
that's what I was just asking. Yeah, I don't see it here. Code compliance, revised agenda.
Unless it came in a separate email from the rest of the packet.
Got meeting minutes, comments. I think you did comments, right? Yeah, because we have comments here.
Okay. Let me make a couple of copies.
Okay. Would anyone like some Purell while we wait?
Sure. Why not?
Purell?
Oh,
I know it's in short supply.
such a luxury.
Yes. Yes. We keep a decent stock of it at the test center, and I always keep one in my truck. It's the last thing I do before I drive
Oh,
away.
yeah, I keep
Yeah.
some of that in my town car, too.
Yeah.
Tons of it. That and Lysol wipes on my desk, which I'm sure have been stolen by now.
Well, now that it's out in the public,
Right.
they know where it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I went in the grocery store on Tuesday. I was just amazed at how much was actually just wiped out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been to like 4 grocery stores this week because I figured, well, maybe different ones, you know, and like, I just need regular cleaning supplies to clean my house.
Yep.
Like, I'm not even trying to hoard them.
Yeah.
I just didn't think to get them on my last normal shopping trip, and you can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Though it does make it easy to spot the brands that nobody likes.
Yeah, there's a lot of organic cleaners being left on the shelf these days. But Lysol and Clorox, though, can't find that stuff anywhere.
Yeah, IT borrowed one of our Purell bottles today and took it to the library because they were gonna go do some revamping of the computers
Oh,
over there,
nice.
and then they left the bottle of Purell over there, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot it.
Gotta go find it.
So for anyone listening, there's a lost bottle of Purell locked in the library.
If you can get in, you win the prize.
I saw one of those funny online memes. It was a picture of a shelf that had just Manhattan clam chowder on it, and the caption was, "Even in an apocalypse, New Englanders will not buy Manhattan clam chowder."
That's funny. Someone was talking about the gluten-free pasta being the only pasta left on the shelves.
Yep.
Yeah, that organic section was fully stocked, let me tell you. I even went there looking for peanut butter, because I'm like, well, there's no regular, maybe it'll be here. It's amazing. Thank you, sir.
Ronnie, I apologize, but I finished this right before the meeting and did not get a chance to send it to you. But there were just 3 additions that I did make to the regulation. There were, the board at the last meeting discussed how to determine occupancy, and at that time, it was to state that occupancy shall be based upon 2 people per bedroom. And so, under number 4, I added a section C, which now reads, in accordance with section C of the rental property bylaw, section 106-8, the Board of Health shall determine the number of bedrooms and occupancy of the rental property and report the number of bedrooms and occupants on the rental certificate. Occupancy shall be based upon 2 people per bedroom.
Good.
And the other thing that the board wanted, in case someone wanted to challenge that 2 people per bedroom, or find if there was another way in the sanitary code to request a variance from that, I added a section 8, which is a variance section, which is basically standard verbiage that we have for other basic non-Title V variances. And I also added a severability clause, which wasn't in there, which really needs to be in there in all regulations, so. Those are the items that I added, but I did add one other thing, which was also, because we did have a request by the, by realtors and through the Realtors Association, was that, because this is a new process and we're gonna have anywhere between 350 and 400 of these inspections to do, very possibly before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
I added in a clause within, under number 7B, which says, within the first year of adoption, temporary rental certificates shall be issued by the Board of Health at their discretion to allow the code compliance inspector to schedule inspections in a timely manner. So, what it basically does, it allows, if someone registers, they can register and rent their property. And then we'll basically catch up with them during the rental year and we'll allow the new code inspector time to contact them and then do the inspection. If we have to make any adjustments to the rental certificate, then we can do that. So it both allows the owner to use their property and also gives the new code inspector time to respond to the slew of registrations that are gonna occur very soon. And the new code inspector is supposed to start on the 30th, so, and I'm preparing more comments for the selectmen on the fee registration, or the registration fee, which will cover both the registration and the inspection of the properties. So, which will all be done through our permit eyes. And the town manager is also reviewing the contract from Lodging Revs, which is the short-term rental compliance company. So council will review that contract, and they have the board's approval of the amount for the contract. So hopefully that will be signed very soon also.
Okay.
So that's moving along. And once the new code enforcement inspector starts, we'll do an online training with with Lodging Revs to go over their database. Kate and I have done it already, but we'll do it again with the code enforcement inspector.
Great. That's great.
So if the board is satisfied with those, I think we need to get this in place and get it advertised.
Sounds good for me.
Ronnie, are you comfortable voting on this without having the current copy in front of you?
Yeah, I am. I like the changes, Glenn. Nice job. Was the variance for the number of people per bedroom, was that a request of the rental association?
No, it was discussed by the board at the last meeting to say if there is anyone who wants to try to get additional occupancy based upon the sanitary code, that it would require a variance from the regulation. So that's why the variance section was added.
Yeah, it's not, so the variance section isn't specific to occupancy, it's just a generalized variance section.
Oh, okay.
It would apply to the whole regulation.
Yeah,
Well, you did a nice job with that, Glenn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.
I like it.
Okay,
I move to approve this most recent version of the short-term rental property regulation.
oh, there's a date on the version.
Oh,
if
the
you want us-
version 3 from 3/19/2020.
Three what?
3/19/2020.
Okay, then I second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 It's nice to get that.
Fabulous.
Is
I know,
the
I've been
conference
working on it
line
for a
still
while.
open in case anybody wants to call on that?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yep, it is open. If you would like to call in, I feel like some sort of a.
I was gonna
disc
say,
jockey or
it feels
something
like it's,
that.
like one of those hotlines.
I gotta write the number down so I
It's a
can repeat it
telethon.
like
It's a
6 times.
telethon, there you go, that's what I was trying to think of.
All right, moving on, getting late. Let's see, discussion of Santuit Pond septic inspections.
I do not have anything prepared for that.
Review of food establishment inspection regulation.
And Kate worked on that, and she did a great job on that, so hopefully you're satisfied with that.
Okey dokey.
Should close that out.
Do we have,
It was emailed.
oh, it was.
I just closed mine out.
I have a printout if you want it.
Do you? Yeah. Did we change anything last time? I thought we liked what it was last time. Am I remembering that wrong?
Oh, I believe we have a caller.
Oh,
Hello? Hello, oh, hold on, I gotta, set you up with a microphone or something here. So that
yeah.
folks that can hear you, and you'll probably be able to hear yourself.
Yes.
Okay, if you could please, just state your name for the record and please just, what issue you wanted to speak about.
It was on the rental permitting agreement. This is Scott Thompson.
Sure,
You
sure.
gave me that back,
Okay.
sorry.
And was there discussion about, or determination made regarding the square feet occupancy of bedrooms? Under the code, it requires a bedroom to be 70 square feet for one person. And some of the homes that were built earlier, for instance, our home, and I submitted this to Glenn in paperwork, it is actually
Is
10
this the one
by
discussed at the last meeting?
7, but
Okay.
4 square feet of that is a closet not accessible by the bedroom.
Okay.
And so it doesn't become a legal bedroom under the code,
This is the one
size-wise, for rental, which is different than for owner-occupied. And so if that is the case, does it require dismantling all closets in those rooms for purposes of compliance?
No, there's no difference between the owner-occupied and rental. There's no change in that. The sanitary code says it's minimum 70 square feet with a window, a heated finished space with a ceiling height of 7 feet for existing and 7.3 for new construction. So that doesn't differ between an owner-occupied or rental. That is basic minimum standards for human habitation. So that, just to clarify, that doesn't change.
So if the home was built in 1967 and it was approved at that, is there a grandfather clause, or does the home that was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath become an automatic 1-bedroom?
So that's where the variance clause comes into play. You can always request a variance, but there's no grandfathering under the housing code.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then secondarily, I'll leave it at that. That answers the question.
Yeah, that's why we added that variance clause in there, was because we understand there aren't cookie cutter situations for everybody.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Is that another one, or is him signing off?
No, I think that was him signing
Okay.
up. He called from California.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That was really good quality for,
Yeah, that's why I wanted to. I figured that he was gonna call Kate and talk to him, and he had sent in the floor plans that I was using as an example.
oh, okay.
So, I'm glad he called in.
Great.
I thought we already decided that. Am I totally?
Oh, sorry, violating
No,
CP.
you're. Here, hold on, it's your turn with it.
It was, at the discretion of the board was the
Okay.
suspensions. So there's language in there specifically saying that suspensions are at the discretion of the board.
Okay.
And then I think we discussed just making it clarified that the fines on probation were the same for priority and priority
Okay.
foundation violations.
Okay. All right,
Looks good.
yeah. Oh, wait, I gotta move this back over
Oh,
here.
yeah, bring Ronnie back.
Are you still there, Ronnie?
I am.
Okay, I had to move the microphone back for
Now,
you.
did this get sent to Ronnie too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Stop moving me all the time.
Yep.
Do you have any questions, Ronnie?
I don't. I just missed what Mallory said, though.
I don't think I said anything worthwhile. I think I was just commenting that I thought we'd decided that before.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm happy.
Yeah, no,
Those
we're good.
changes were good, too.
Looks great.
Or clarifications, I guess, huh?
Excellent work, Caitlin.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll just move to approve it, or?
Well, actually, before we do that, once again, if you would like to call in and ask any questions, make any comments about the food establishment inspection regulation, please feel free at the number you see down here, which again, I don't remember, so if Glenn, you could so kindly.
They have it on the-
539-1449, but it's also on the
Oh, it is?
TV
Okay,
screen
I should
too.
write that down.
When we make changes to the regs, we do typically have a public hearing, but I think that these are really changes to be more consistent with the new code. So,
Right, because of the 3 categories now versus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I don't think it ultimately changes the intent of the regulation. But certainly, if we have comments to it in the application of it, I just think we should take that into consideration. But,
Okay. And we have not had any public hearing on that one yet,
But I don't think we're required to.
which we are not, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Do you want to leave time for Colin, or?
Yeah, we can give another moment. I don't know if folks at home have a copy of the reg to really look at and question
That's true. Probably
anyway,
not so much.
so. Yeah, I guess if any questions come up.
They can
we
always bring it back.
We can always revise it, but I don't want to let it sit for too long because it's.
right.
All right, I move to approve the food establishment inspection regulations.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. I think that concludes our public session agenda for this evening. We do have listed executive session, or we?
I
No
do not
executive
have
session
anything
this evening.
prepared for executive session.
Fabulous.
Fantastic. Okay.
I move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good.